is shipping. Yeah, talked. I think I got that. Yeah. Water, water. Should be live. Oh, I should probably turn that off before it messes anything up. All right. I think I'm perfect. Let's clean the glasses so we can read. I wish I had a monitor or moderator, whatever. That would be cool. Not in the budget, I guess. Good to see everybody. How is everyone doing today? Interesting day, interesting week. That's you, Paige. Black and white kind of night. Yep. Appreciate it. I can't see. Okay, there we go. All right, everything's good now. Michael Jackson reference. Yo, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good evening. Yeah. I'm looking forward to SDCC and MezcoCon reveals and the ship now reveals. Yeah. And the contest. Yeah, that's going to be good. And his ISP bill is paid in full. It should be. It's going to be a good night. A little bit different tonight. You have to bear with me a little bit. I'm on my own tonight, flying solo. There's a bet on Kelsey if I can actually do a good job by myself, right? But the guys, they're doing family stuff, so they're not going to be with us tonight. So it'll be us just hanging out. But got a good show for tonight. I guess we should timestamp this and everything else, right? Keep tradition. Hello, everyone. My name is Paige. Welcome to episode. It's on the monitor. 268 of the Hangout, where we give you positive insight into the world of collecting in a very chilled and relaxed atmosphere. I say we because I'm not joined by my co-hosts. They are taking the night off. There is no friction. Don't start rumors. So it's just going to be me, like I said tonight. Got some good stuff tonight, though. Very good stuff. And since I'm by myself tonight, the show is going to go the way you guys want it. That's right. Lots of feedback, comments, stuff like that. You guys are going to generate this show. You guys usually do anyway, but you know. Top cons for tonight. I had some stuff here. So tonight we'll be talking about just some toy news. I don't really have any of that, to be honest with you. I did do a little bit of show foreplay, Mezco news and updates. That'll kind of be combined into the MezcoCon SDCC survival guide. And then we'll talk about the hot tea of the community, the Batman animated series. He's not the black and white, he's the noir edition. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will have opinions about this because I've seen some very interesting conversations on the board about this one. So we'll see how it goes, right? You guys ready to start? Yes. All right, here we go. But you know, of course, before we get into anything, we always got to have a little bit of show foreplay. Ballin', keeping with tradition. I love sports. Lots of move in the NBA. Remember this guy? Yeah. Drake party is going to happen. Kawhi Leonard has been traded. I didn't know he was traded. I thought he just got there. I mean, just left. But he's back in Toronto for all you Toronto fans. Another star. Another shooter. Just kidding. Ja Morant. He's not going to the Heat. I heard he went to Portland. So that's interesting. Always interesting, right? Remember, I'm doing double duty here. We got LaMelo now. What? Where did he go? He went to I can't remember. I saw where he went. John went to the Blazers. Yep. Portland. What is it? Whatever Minnesota has, all of them miles were good. I can't remember where LaMelo went. Was it Minnesota? I thought it was Minnesota. The fun guy, Jaylen Brown, went to Philly. Yeah. I sent that to KJ. And I think what was my next slide? Breaking news. This guy said, you don't have to call me, I'm leaving. So Braun is done in LA. Word is on the street he might go to Golden State. That would be interesting. Maybe back to Miami. I think that would be really good fit. But I think if he leaves, he's probably gonna have to take his son with him too, right? I didn't check on that, see what Bronny's contract was, but good sport. Speaking about buckets, this is getting out of hand. Said this for the last 2 or 3 weeks, but yeah. This is the I believe what is it? It's one of the Evil Dead. It's like Day of the Evil Dead or something like that. But this is their popcorn bucket. It's like there's a 6 scene in it in the preview. It's got like knives and stuff like that. But yeah, popcorn bucket. This is just it's getting bigger and more expensive. More expensive. Thanks for 2020, bro. But it's time to move on. It is, yeah. I saw this on like 4 players today. As soon as Bronny just got his last year guaranteed the day before Bron said bye. He's like, "You're gonna take care of my son, right? He's good here, right? All right, cool. I'm still in the lead. I still got juice." But yeah, I think I'm done with the popcorn bucket stuff. This is kind of getting out of hand. It looks really cool, but where would you put that? Anyway. X2. X-Men 97 season 2. I think that's streaming now, right? Episodes 1 and 3, it says. It's getting really good reviews. I haven't seen season 1 yet, so I gotta hurry up and catch up. Wondering about that. What is this? I'll take this bucket over the Supergirl one. I hear what you're saying. Exactly. Braun to the Knicks. Would they even take it? Why mess up the chemistry though? They won a championship, and then that's kind of like you're messing with the whole team chemistry. I like it. It's the Mecca, but I don't know. I'm wondering if he does go to Golden State or Miami and he wins a championship, how he switched teams again. Are they really going to give him any credit for this? Winning another chip? Probably not. Exactly. See, that championship will have an asterisk. Let's see here. Only because LA won it. Any other team, it would have been the story of a lifetime. Yeah. I think he gets more credit for the one he won in Cleveland when he didn't really have any help. Popcorn buckets are for people who don't know how to cook to cook other things. I just wonder where you would put them all. They're just so big. Anyway, moving on. Man of Tomorrow. Looks like the new Superman suit has been revealed by James Gunn. I only show this because to me this kind of looks the same. It's a little deeper blue, but they always got to make toys. So this is his new suit. I'm still not looking forward to this figure coming out, to be honest with you. I'm really gonna try. Speaking of Kryptonians, juggle the chat. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I'm solo. All by myself. Reading cue cards. Just kidding. Let's see here. Woman of Tomorrow. Well, we're talking about Superman. Let's talk about Superwoman. Supergirl. Only cleared like 18 million with $170 million budget. I guess they're considering this not a good entry in the DC. I was going to talk to the guys about this. I was looking at all the female, and I'm not doing the whole woke thing, but I was like looking, and I go, why did this one really have a hard time? It was right on the, right on the tail end of Superman. Had that transition stuff. It had Jason Momoa. It's got her in it. I think the villain's kind of sketchy. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I was looking. I was like, why do female superhero movies have a hard time? I think the only one that's gotten really good rating is Wonder Woman. So I was going to talk to the guys. Maybe you guys can tell me without getting too woke. Don't want that. It just seems like I really try to think of a female superhero or a female main casted themed movie. Because you wouldn't lose guys. Guys would go see it because, if you throw like Sydney Sweeney in, They still went and saw Madam Web. People just didn't like it. So the attack on the actress, yeah, I've been feeling really bad. I don't I've seen some like GQ shoots and stuff like that. I don't think she's a bad looking girl. She looks like Supergirl. I like the cameo that she did, but yeah, they've been ruthless on her. They put that, what was it that was it from the Land of the Lost? That character? The movie was dope, mind blowing. No, but it was dope and I loved it. So like a summer flick. That's the only way I was gonna take it. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the WB curse striking. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. Like I've heard some people say she did a really good job in it. I heard the storyline's just kind of like James Gunny, and it's a mash of what was it? Mad Max, Guardians of the Galaxy, and something else. So I was like, I guess I'll wait. It's an odd choice to have Supergirl in the second movie in the DC. Yeah, give us the meat and potatoes. There was I guess I was doing research on it. There was a plan to do another series of a comic run James Gunn wanted to do that I'd never even heard of, and he wanted that to be the second movie, but they kept shuffling stuff around, and so like he's like, okay, well, he started out Creature Commandos, he did Superman. This other movie was supposed to be that, and then he also has a Batman movie somewhere, but this whole timeline, I guess, kind of just got messed up. It's unfair, I feel like, to complain about people taking shots, but it feels very cheap on a good actress. Yeah, she's good in what? Isn't she in House of Dragons? Supergirl was up against Mad Max, against a Mad Max throwaway villain. Yep. Casual fans never even heard of. Yeah, and I heard that they revamped that character too. Like he had all that stuff on him and everything. Is this a spoiler alert? Do we want to do that? Anyway, the character looks completely different. He's like a handsome guy in the comics. Isn't it from that? Is it from like the Tom King run? I don't know. Like the Woman of Tomorrow, that storyline. I think it was from where she goes, you know, hopping around the galaxy, and I mean it fits damn good. But anyway, probably spending too much time on it. Underworld had a strong female. That's yeah, that's a good one. I just feel like they waited to introduce her in old so. What's crazy, everyone's loving her in House of Dragons, and once she got cast as Supergirl, all the hate came in. Yeah, it's kind of like Heath Ledger. I'll be honest, when I heard Heath Ledger was going to be Joker, I thought to myself, I go, ooh, I don't know about that. It's kind of like Michael Keaton, too, right? I thought it was great casting, and all of a sudden people turned on her. Yep, just like Heath. Supergirl is honestly a B character and a poor choice to restart the universe. Yeah, maybe something different like Green Lantern, or I guess you can't do Justice League because you haven't established all the characters. Yeah, I think it's a toxic fandom. Yeah, that runs everywhere pretty much. Gunn is more to blame this movie. He should have had more developed her slowly through other movies. Yeah, I think the cameo helped, but I think if people would have seen a little bit more of her, that probably would have happened. Gunn should have started out with the big guns. I feel like this movie was filler for Man of Tomorrow just to give up a look at Supergirl's origin story. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I think I'm waiting to see it, but yeah, this is feel bad for her because she's from what I understand, she also had to learn these five made up languages, and so they were going. I was like watching some of the behind the scenes, and so she had to learn this language, and she was walking around the set doing that. She had to lose weight, and they had to tape her breast down. I guess she's. I didn't know this about her. I guess she's well endowed, and they had to tape her down like five times. Anyway, versus since we're talking about fights, I thought this was hilarious. Uh, we, I remember I did a segment a while back when Ray J and showed him how he got knocked out by the who's that kid, Super Dope Fly, something like that. Super Dope Fire, the kid. It's got all the guys around like that guy. I guess he kind of knocked Ray J out, and I was surprised to see that Ray J is going to fight again. What made this even funnier is this is Orlando Brown. If you don't know who Orlando Brown is, look up some clips. He has some very eclectic interviews. I'll say that. But he decided to add insult to injury and slap this dude with a stack of hundreds in his face. And then he challenged him. He said, hey, that's some ones. He showed him there are hundreds and he fell down. I was like, man, you're setting yourself up for failure. But anyway, thought that was kind of fun. I think we'll see Gunn's Batman film. That would be cool. Maybe you should do an animated version since she has actors and everything. Yeah, I haven't watched Creature Commandos. I heard that was good. The movie was okay, but she did an amazing job in the role. That's what I've been hearing. Sneaky, sneaky. Super Hot Fight. Yeah, that's him. That's that guy. That dude was fun. I challenge you. I saw a couple of people taking shots at each other in the group. Not in the group, but in the old content creator sphere. And I was thinking, you know what? If I get into some kind of trouble at the con, I think what everybody should do is point to the other person and say, I challenge you. The Spider-Man challenge. Have you guys seen this? It's funny. If you get a chance, go look up Spider-Man challenge. They got all these people, they'll stand on their arm, their hands, and then you push up against the wall and you got to do this pose, but it's inverted. And I thought to myself, it would be really funny to see some people try to do this. And now I was thinking to myself, who could I see that will actually do it? I could only think of a couple people. So I think it would make for some great videos. You just walk up to somebody, Spider-Man challenge. I'll challenge Darius first. He'll be able to do it though. So, yep, she's crazy good. Any content creator beef should be settled with a breakdance competition. Oh man, can you imagine that? I don't know if some guys would be able to like get back up. You know, we're all a little bit older, so some guys might get down and try to like do a windmill or something like that. This should have been an HBO Max series to introduce Supergirl. That's actually a good idea. I agree with that. And further the Kryptonian mythos. I know Batman. Yeah, it could have been like a Peacemaker thing, right? I know Batman movies are overproduced, but do you really need to establish the DCU? I think they probably had huge plans for a gun and this whole universe, and he probably laid out this whole thing that he wanted to do. And not to make excuses for him, I think they probably saw dailies and stuff like that, of like some of the stuff he was doing, and go, hey, why don't we shuffle some of these projects you're going to do? And of course, that probably went rewrites and a whole bunch of other dumb shit. And he was just like, you got served style. Exactly. Spider-Man challenge. But you got to do it like, you know, like, I'll keep imagine challenging two people at the same time. Like the Spider-Man meme be like, challenge you. Spider-Man challenge. So that's it. You see somebody at the con, you go, Spider-Man challenge, and they got to do it. And then get the phones out. I can see a bunch of people just going crashing. I think people are super focused on the comic, but not taking into account that these are movies based on books. Yeah, I think that there's a really bad disconnect with a lot of that. It's hard to do like live action stuff because they do well with their DC animated stuff. So anyway, remember Spider-Man challenge? It's all fun and games. Back in my day, you used to play video games on these little discs, and you had memory cards, and you would get online and play with your friends and stuff like that. Not that shit no more. Spider-Man challenge. I remember spending, what was it, like 150 or 200 bucks for a PlayStation, and I thought that was much. The new PS6 is gonna be $1,000 allegedly. And I'm thinking, well, they're coming so far. I don't know if everybody saw, you see the GT, was it Grand Theft Auto 6? I was like, even if these were renders, it's like I'm watching a movie. I was blown away by it. But I'm sitting there linking and I'm like, oh, okay. They'll have that stuff and it'll get more advanced, but I don't know if I want to spend $1,000. And then they announced this. Like I said, playing with disc, you know, memory card, online, all that stuff was kind of like advanced. And this came out. I don't know if you guys saw this. They're planning on ending all disc production for PlayStation in 2028. So not only are you gonna pay $1,000 for a unit, You would think it would be cheaper because they took away the drive for it, you know, the CD drive. Nah. I saw also the PlayStation, it was either the PlayStation store or something like that. It was dumping people's movie purchases because they lost the license too. I was like, damn. So you're buying games or buying movies. I know you're purchasing the licensing for it, but I can't imagine like spending that money and then all of a sudden it's done. I haven't owned a physical game of a copy in years. I've been buying more physical copies of stuff lately because I don't know. It just seems like they could take it away. I have a huge library on Vudu, and I was looking at my movies the other day. They added movies, not complaining, but they added movies to my stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, I don't even know if they took movies away from me. I wouldn't even really know. So the majority of people that go to movies aren't comic book readers. They are so hard in movies. Most readers actually enjoy seeing the movies that stay true to the comic. Yeah, I heard this is like a loose adaptation, or they had like they did some obviously some like character changes, design changes, and stuff like that. But what was it with Supergirl? They said in the movie again. I didn't watch the movie, but they said in the movie they had him flying around through the galaxy for like 2 days, and then in the book, they were doing it for a couple months or something like that. So I mean, you got to cut down for a time, but yeah, it's hard to stick to some of that source material. But it helps because it adds context to the characters, the storyline. A grand, yeah. I'm fine never playing games again. I'll wait for a PC if it doesn't make it as a PC anymore. Fine. Yeah. Good to see everybody. Thank you for everybody showing up. I'm actually excited about the 112 Soups 2005. I mean 2025. He's available for pre-order at retail, like the proportions. Better than everything in McFarlane and SHF. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I should take my own advice. It was they had the prototype at the con and you're setting it up and I'm looking, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about this. I don't know. And I said, oh, maybe if I watch the movie, my mind will get changed and stuff like that. And I don't know what it is. But I was like that with Gaslight Joker. When I first saw that, I was like, ooh, no. And then it came out and I'm like, damn, this is dope. People are highly upset that Supergirl had earrings. Yeah, that and him and Conan, everybody, they can't read a comic book or look at Frazetta art and know that he had like earrings. I got to head out early movie night with my lady. Hey, man, good to see you, man. Enjoy the movie. Enjoy the movie. Are you gonna go see Supergirl? Trying to think what's out. I need to see what's that movie? Obsession. I want to watch that. But anyway, yeah. Start collecting your stuff. Get physical because it's gonna go. There's only ever gonna be one blade. Speaking of games, oh come on, Paige. There you go. Save the other side for this one. Microsoft is reportedly canceling the Marvel Blade uh, game and just shutting down the company that makes it. That's crazy. So Wesley called it. Is there only ever going to be one Blade? Click, click, click. There you go. Fancy editing. So tonight, if you're not here, or if you're not watching 3POA or any of the other Wednesday night shows, you're probably here watching the reveals for Legion's Con, the Necroverse. Is this an Atticus Doom crossover? The Necropolis opens this evening. I am interested in this. So as soon as I hop off, I want to check out and see what they got going on with this. It'll be very interesting. And then I saw they announced the San Diego Comic Con exclusive for Mythic Legions, or one of them. I wonder if they have multiples. But keep up with the chat. Hey, Paul, good to see you, man. Paul, stay so I can hear what you got to say about Batman. Is Blade cursed? Jeez, I know it's like a Madden curse ad. Let's see here. Moving on. F Boy Scully. So, uh, I know that there's a bunch of stuff with Mattel and the He-Man and Skeletor and the different versions, but when did this happen? I'm actually interested in this though. Is it bad that I just want this just for the weights, the weight rack, and everything else? This is cool, but man, this is funny. I like this. But yeah, allegedly this is supposed to be a San Diego Comic Con exclusive. Add another one to the list. The Master of the Universe Skeletor, Gym Bro, comes with weights, deadlift weight, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. I think the rack is in there too, right? Or is it just the weights? Dehance, Dehance. I hope he comes with more stuff like the rack, and then they also have this Pimp Daddy Destro. What is it? Ladies Night Out or something like that. Skeletor, not Destro. Paige, are you going to talk about Fresh Monkey Fiction Vietnam figures? No, I didn't have the boys with me tonight, and so I was like, I didn't know how this was going to go, just solo. I haven't done a solo one in a while, and so I can pull it up after we get done talking about it. I don't know much about it, but we can kind of dry run through it. I honestly didn't know how this conversation was going to go tonight with the whole Batman thing, so we'll see. Let me star that. We'll put that on the thing, and I'll get it. That good? It is a fair compromise, no? Need this Jim Bro Scully. Okay, good. I'm not the only one. We're thinking the same thing, and we need a date night Scully. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, grab me one toothpaste. Yeah, I'm trying to get there. I heard that they just announced it, so there's just so much. I'm wondering if that increases your chances of being able to get some of this stuff because there's just so much. Need a Skeletor just for the yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Wait for a better figure later. I haven't seen that movie either. I heard that movie got kind of like shit on a lot too, but yeah, date night, and then you got him. Gridiron Gang. I put this in here for the boys. Funny how we were talking about a black version of this, and bam, there it is. I like this version. This thing looks badass. Wow. And then through Netflix Punisher in there, and I'm like, yeah, that'll give me more 5 seconds of more attention to this picture. But man, this thing looks really good. I don't know how much it costs. I don't even know if it's out. I thought CC was going to be on, so I threw it in there for him. Oh, wrong picture. Wrong picture. But there's Pimp Daddy Destro for scale. Very nice. It looks good. It looks really good. I don't know. Do you guys have room in the garage for this stuff? Because, man, I was digging through and reorganizing, and I found the Trouble Bubbles I bought that I haven't been able to find for a while, and I'm like, damn it, dude. Jim Bro goes up on Mattel site on July 23rd. That's during the convention. That's 20th, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's Wednesday. That's preview night. Damn, sneaky. Gridiron said they're going to try to put out as many accessories as possible. I guess there could be. Yeah, I have this on the last slide too. They have. Damn, that looks good. Ugh, it's nasty, bro. In a good way, not. Look at that. Wow. Yep, that's a SWAT vehicle. Jeez, that looks so good. I don't know how much it is. Yeah, and there's your parts and stuff you can like have. They do really good work, man. They put out a lot of really good stuff. I'm 45. The MOTU movie was right up my alley just for nostalgia. Yeah, I remember the comic. I mean, the cartoon. I read the comics too, but the cartoon was cool. And even if you watch it now, it's just goofy. It's goofy fun. I don't know what people were expected. Because if they would have went away from the source material, people would have been like, "Yeah, this is not true to that." And then it would almost be like Masters of the Universe, like how they did that. That was kind of a shock for people. Looks good. Wonder if CC will have a discount code handy. Probably so. Coming loon vans, also ramen vans. I saw those, like the Newz van and the other The want some candy van, that kind of thing. Definitely not enough room. Yeah, this looks really good. Really good. Convince me. All right, let's talk about this. That's the reason why I didn't put a lot of segments in the show. I had a lot of thoughts about this today. So we always go back in the past so we can be in the present. So they put this up for pre-order. This was kind of out of left field, I think, probably for a lot of people. Um, uh, One thing that probably didn't help the conversation was this is a black and white figure, and the week prior, everybody was saying they're just putting out all these black figures. This messed up my percentage a little bit, not too much, but anyway. So it's a black and white figure. Keep this in mind too, right here. I noticed that this grapple gun is white, but this got put up for pre-order. There we go. Yeah, black and white Batman, the animated series, the Noir edition. I I don't know where to start with this, to be honest with you. Now, let's read some comics. Why did Mezco show Batman the Animated Series mouth painted in the promotional pictures, but not but they're not okay with the what? Painted in the promotional pictures, but they're not okay the actual figure. It makes a pretty big difference, in my opinion. His mouth looks non-existent for both figures. Yeah, if you look at some of these images, there are differences. Like the first one that I mentioned was the gun, the grapple gun. They do have that where the mouth is outlined a little bit more, and then when you get to the final, it's there's that one, but that could be the angle. But in most of the promotional images, they are pretty defined, and then when you get to the like actual this one, I don't know if that could be lighting because it's pretty hard. Not making excuses, but then when you get into the product, it doesn't look like it has anything. It looks like the one from before. So yeah, we talked about promotional pictures and how you're either in one camp, you're in the camp of, yeah, I've done this for so long, I understand that these are promo images, and it'll look like it looks when it comes out. And then you're in another camp of, I'm making this purchase that's supposed to be 100 and what is it, 100 and was it $20, I think. Yeah, $120, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to buy this, and if you're basing it off of that. Not everybody's collected this line for so long. Not everybody had the figure previously, so that's something I get. So this, I think, is probably the biggest. And let me catch up with the chat real quick too. Neat. The inner cape lining a subtle purple or blue. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like I don't know if when they did these pictures, if they took the picture and desaturated it, because like you said, there's that, or I don't know if it's the lighting, and I've talked about this a lot with the promotional image. I get it. I understand that there's a licensor, and they. This is just my theory that they take these pictures, they show the licensor approves or disapproves what they want, right? Because it's their license, it's their name on it, so they want to make sure that they have the best possible representation of the character, and so you're trying to solicit it out. But I think people would just be happy with just pictures of what the figure can do. You know, if let's say you didn't know anything about this figure, you wanted to know the articulation and stuff like that. I don't think people are really concerned about the background stuff. I know it adds to the picture, it sells the picture, but I think there'll probably be some people that say this is taking me out of it. You know, I've seen a lot of comments like that. I also think that with pre-orders, and this is just a personal opinion and preference, I think something that would help with this is if you did a pre-order and you blasted all over this that it was a prototype, it's not the finished version because we've seen that before, right? I think it helps you and helps your customers if these things are taking a year to put out, if you update the photos. Because obviously we don't know where they are with this prototype. This could be an early prototype. I know it's a buy it now. It's probably already done. I'm talking about regular stuff. But if you have a pre-order, I think it helps to be able to see like if they put something on their website, say, hey, updated photos, go check it out. And then that way you can see some of the differences and stuff like that. And, I think that would help because most people are either basing you know, their purchasing decision on these photos. And as you can see what happened today, it's starting to get into this territory where people are like, you know what, this isn't doing it for me. I don't even want to mess with it. You know, it's an exclusive. This got a lot of backlash when I was reading through the comics. I mean, the comments, not the comics. But a lot of people were making some points about things like which photo do you believe? And you can see it kind of like splintering off that people are like, I saw a couple of videos this week where people were saying, "Hey, we need to take a stance against companies. We need to be more selective about our purchasing dollars and stuff like that." And those are all great points to bring up, especially with what we're dealing with financially. You do want to make sound purchasing decisions, and so I said this before, as a company, you have to be aware of that, and some of these like little things would help, I think, to alleviate that. That's just my opinion. Because this seems like the promotional pictures, the offering itself, and then also the price for what you got for it. Most people. So this is what you got with it, um, and it was 120. The original one was 116, and this one's 120. And so your original one, there's a couple things taken off to the second screen, but you pretty much got everything that's on here, and then you got like the batarangs. And if you're looking at it, it's missing a whole page, and it would be like 11 items, depending on how you count it. I counted like each part accessory, but that's 11 things that are missing from it. And so even though it's $4 extra, I think people, from what I read in the feedback in the comments, I think people would be okay if it was $4 extra. It was an exclusive. It was black and white. If you got all of this stuff, but you're taking that out, you're taking these accessories that came with them before. So that was a really really big topic. Let me see. Let me go through the comments. I would have instantly copped a blue one too. A blue one would have been cool. Right. Let's see here. Was thinking something with the licensor demanded them to do. Mondo made a noir version as well. Did that version have less with it too, or was there something specific? I mean, this is what a con exclusive should be. It's cool, but it's really not needed, and you're not missing out on anything you don't or you can't get. That was something that I had some really good conversations on Reddit, which is a little, it's gotten a lot better. But when I first got on Reddit, I was like, geez, this is a cesspool of just dumb shit. But a lot of people didn't really talk about this in the groups, but it seemed like on Reddit, people were having conversations like we were actually talking about it. And there was a guy, I don't know if I put it in here or not, but he was saying, I'm not trying to bang on them. I understand what they're doing and stuff like that. He goes, but this is disappointing. And I go, this is the kind of stuff that companies will read. You don't have to like kiss ass, or you don't have to say, I really wish they would have done this. It's like, no, you identify what the problem is or what you think would improve the product, and then you talk about that. I wish I don't know if I put it in here or not. I probably didn't because I was trying to rush through and put some stuff in there, but companies like will stop and look at that kind of feedback. If you're saying pass, trash, this is dumb, and you're just going. There's so many comments like that, and then you're also not providing them any kind of feedback to to get what you want essentially, right? If you say it sucks or it's trash or what the fuck are they doing, all this other stuff, they're probably only going to get to that halfway point and go, God, here's another comment, and they're just going to skip it, right? I understand complaining about it or voicing your opinion about it because if you wanted to buy it or if you want something better out of a company, totally understandable. But if your intent is to try to improve what they're doing, that's not improving it, you know? And it just builds up resentment like with anything. Like I said last week, if somebody says to you, if your boss, you came into your boss and your boss every day said, you suck, you're not doing well, you suck. Why'd you do this? You keep sucking. You know what? You sucked today. At 12, you sucked. You probably tune them out, right? But if your boss said, hey, man, you're not performing properly, first day, and you man, get it together. And you're like, oh, he's always getting on me. But the next day, he said, hey, man, come into my office. I need to talk to you. These are the things that you're doing wrong. These are the things I want you to improve on. It hits a little bit different. That's what I'm saying. I understand people want to voice their opinion, but some of the stuff that people put out, it's not productive. And if you really want the company to get better, then that's what you should do is tell them what you want. This is me. It just seems like it's a waste of time to like complain, and it's always the same thing. You know what I think is ironic is people always talk about reuse, how companies reuse. Collectors like reuse the same talking points every time. Too expensive. This sucks. Reuse. It's like you're reusing the same comments that you use like that. Why don't you take some time and tell them what you want? Hey, this is cool. I wanted more. It would be cool to have more accessories. So it looks fantastic. A shame it doesn't come with more accessories. It's different accessories. Exactly. Like something like that. That is more. And like I said, you don't have to like kiss ass and say, "Hey, you guys, I just want to tell you something." No, tell them like this. Just tell them what you want. You know, tell them what would make the product better. Tell them what you feel would push you into hitting the buy button instead of some of the other stuff. The points are like when you look at it, the points are valid, right? So I was looking at some of the other previous exclusives, not the ones that are San Diego and stuff, but ones that either were like black and white or ones that we got like stuff. And so one of them was like Nosferatu, right? We had Nosferatu. Uh, he didn't come with a lot, but he had a packet, but then the price point was a little bit different. And then we all remember the 12 o'clock at night Symphony of Horror. But the cool thing about this is, and I was get you guys' opinion about this too. It's an example of I think people are okay with buying the same figure, even if it's the character reuse or even if like some of the deco's the same. But I think if you add different things to it, not only make it playable within whatever that subline is, but if you add different things that people feel like they're getting more value out of the offering. Do you know what I mean? You don't feel like you are paying for some kind of reuse. So Symphony of Horror, they gave you, they gave you two wolves, they gave you different stuff, a cloak. This was a different plume cloud. And then when you had the black and white version, it was a mix mash of the other stuff. But if you would have gotten one of the other figures and you didn't get getting this figure, but you didn't get one of the other figures, even though it was black and white, it was still a little bit different, you know? Symphony didn't come with a coffin, you know? So I don't know if that's making sense. Let me check the chat because I'm rambling. Let's see here. 321. Thank you, because I was about to check. I was going to get this Batman, but was disappointed with the mouth hasn't painted as one of the special accessories. I'd be happy. I'd already be happy with a 2.0 of this figure if it had the original release. That yeah. So if you and they took one of the heads away. So here you had two. One of the things I put on there was like you're missing the neutral open. This one. You're missing this head over here. This guy. I can't zoom in anymore, but it's this one right here. You get this smirky one, and you get the surprise look one, but you don't get this one. And so It's like you're taking away. I don't know the internal reasons. Maybe it was a licensing thing. Maybe it was just the fact that they were like, okay, eh, this costs more to do. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is, but uh, as a customer, you're looking at it going, well, I'm paying more, but I'm getting less. And that's what it seems like most of the feedback is on this. I feel like it is a con exclusive. I don't feel like it's essential to the line. Like just because this isn't like, let's say they did Two Face and they did it as a con exclusive. Now you're going to be fighting online to get this. You're going to be fighting in line at the convention to get this, and it makes it harder. And so that's why I was kind of conflicted about this today because I've seen people where they get really mad. They go, "I can't get to the con. I missed out on this online, and there's no way I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna have to pay aftermarket." And so to me, it's that trying to figure that out. I don't know how. I understand what everybody's voicing their opinion about, but in the same sense, I look at it and go, this isn't really essential to what you need. They don't have any other characters. You could pair this up with Sparky, the black and white Sparky, and some other stuff. But people will complain about everything. They'll complain if the cool figure and if it's an exclusive, and if they can't get it, they'll complain if it's an exclusive and they don't want it. There's no winning. There isn't. I do think it's important to look at both sides, no matter what people think about me, and they say, "Oh, you keep making excuses for them on the show and even in groups." I always try to have a conversation that talks about both sides, just like we've been talking about right here. I think for this, the question I had for the guys, and I'll ask you guys, is like, um, so you have two exclusive now that you had, right? I don't know if they're going to do any more. And so if you're thinking in the mind frame of like these are the two exclusives they had, um, I, I would think that you would want either have something in the chamber for to kind of take this away, because the way that it's going right now, it seems like a lot of people are disappointed with these two exclusives. You don't know if they're going to do anymore. And so uh, I am really hoping that they have something else to kind of like maybe swing back the momentum. I saw some people talking about Letterman and how they wanted to see like a variant version of that, which is kind of ironic because people say they don't want reuse, but that character's already been done, even if it was in different form. So that's why I said I think a lot of the accessories and the presentation, how you get this, is how well it can be received. If they would made a Detective Harvey Bullock, I would have bought it for 200, 2,200, or the one with the backdrop cop characters. Yeah. NECA TMNT taught me with black and white variant, it's a very slippery slope. Figures look great, but I don't have the space for black and white variants. If they did Gray Ghost as a black and white version, that would have been amazing. Yes, he's a deeper cut, but it would have made sense when we saw Bruce Wayne watching TV in black and white and the ghost was in it. Yeah, they had actually they usually when they show those TV shows they're in black and white. So they've had like I think I was looking, I didn't see an episode that was dedicated, so I'm wondering they were where what they were going with this. But yeah, most of the stuff on TV was black and white, but Gray Ghost. But then, like I said, you're running into that. That would have been a very popular character. And I guarantee you, if they put that up and put the numbers that they probably put up, because that's a chance you don't know if it's going to go over. So they probably wouldn't wait conservative. And so let's say that's sold out in 5 minutes. And then now you're going to battle the con. It's all like I said, it's such a difficult thing to do. I know a lot of people will say, well, just make more, or why don't they just make more? It's like, it's not that easy. You're planning stuff out 2 or 3 years in advance. And then when you do it, you're putting up and you're saying, okay, I think this is what this is going to do. Nah, I don't think that it's trash, that it's unfair. It's an exclusive. So I get the way I think everybody does. I don't think anybody's arguing that point. I'm hope I'm making that clear. I think that if this black and white version came with everything that's on the original version, I think it would have probably numbed the sting a little bit. But I think when people looked at this, they said, okay, this isn't a version that I thought was going to come. I'm not into black and white figures. I'm telling you the things I've seen online. I'm not into black and white figures, and then also it's more expensive, and I'm getting less stuff. So, what is this shows? Mondo black and white version comes. Thank you. Yes, this is what I ordered. Everything that standard comes with. Also, incremental pricing increasing are annoying. $4 isn't that much, but four, and two, yeah. I had that in my notes too. I saw a couple people say that they don't know about this figure. They're waiting until they get it at the con. Um, I don't want to backtrack a little bit or like try to cover ass or anything like that, but I was looking at it and that Gomez, it was very limited. It was limited and it sold out pretty fast. And I kept thinking to myself, I go, I'm wondering if that will be there. I know it was advertised, but I'm wondering if that figure is even going to be available. If this figure will be available, I think what you could do with this one is if any kind of extra you have, you could just take it to the con or ship it to the con really quick. But you know, yeah. Unfortunately, this is going to be part of collecting. We've been talking about this for like over a year. That prices were going to go up because of everything that's happening. But yeah, I agree with you. I think people are focusing in on it. I don't think people have a problem with the price increasing. I think that people want, if the price is going to increase, then they feel like the value needs to be there to justify the price increase. If that makes sense, right? If you're getting a bunch of accessories, you don't really care, because you're like, oh, it's the value that's making it worth it. In a way, I'm glad they made it. It shows they're going hard into this line. I did take that away from this too. Yeah, great point. I'm hoping for a new announcement SDCC. Yeah, I think that would be really good. There was something else I had on this because I was going to talk to the guys. Oh, one thing I'll ask you guys too about this. So they put out two of these now. And consensus wise, it just seems like they haven't been as popular as some of the previous convention exclusives. Um, if that happens, does that dampen your excitement for the convention or for potentially another figure that might come out? It's kind of like a strike one, strike two kind of thing. Making it exclusive kind of negates a lot of the complaining, though. It's limited exclusive. It's not supposed to be a major release. I agree. Do they have a place to constructively talk about these things? I think all groups. I think groups. I think they're free. They're social media. I think that those are places that you could do it. I just don't think people do it. I think people are so focused, hyper focused on getting some kind of like gotcha moment or something clever. People are interested in trying to resolve whatever the issue is. Because, like I said, if you say something sucks, what feedback can you take from that? Well, anything. I understand people are frustrated or they just want to get a jab in, but what what is it you said is going to help improve the product or make it better? Pass, trash. I get it. Okay, dude. And I ask MC and those guys all the time. The last pre-order, last buy it now that went up. Do you remember who said pass or who was passing on it? You probably don't. Nobody cares, dude. If you're gonna pass on a figure, you have more impact if you said, like some of the comments that are in here. If you told them that directly, either on their site, YouTube stuff when they do like stuff like that, because that's feedback that they can use. I just think I always hear people complaining about stuff, and they always say, I just want the company to do better. Well, what are you doing to help the company get better. It's a symbiotic relationship. You know, you're the consumer, you give them money, they make the toys. So it's a relationship. And the only way you're going to have a relationship is if you communicate with them. So if something's wrong and they don't know it, just like any relationship, you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. And they're going to ignore, you know, like when you're with your significant other and she's like, oh, God, you're so lazy. You blow it off, right? Like, oh, God, she's going, you know. But if your significant other sits you down and says, hey, we got to talk. You know, these things are happening. I'm not happy with it. I need you to change these things, please. And then it becomes, man, you better do it or I'm leaving. So I saw a lot of people saying this was too close to the year one figure. Yeah, what do you guys think? Like, they both look similar, but it's a different vein, different look. And I could see people if they already did that. That's another thing too. You put year one up, and then you put this up, and so even if you were trying to decide, you'd either say, "I already have that figure. Why do I need to get this one?" But that's what makes this an exclusive. Like me, I got it, you know, because I like Batman the Animated Series. I love noir films. You know, I like black and white figures. I'll shut up about them now because I remember for a while I was like, man, I wish they do more black and white figures. It's the curse. If they want their feedback, why not just ask us? They'd That'd make the fans of Mezco feel heard and appreciated. Hell, we'd be part of something like Mezco. I think you can. I think you can provide feedback. How would they ask you? Like an email? Do you shoot that out to everybody individually? Do you shoot it out to everybody's Instagram that follows you? I think the easiest way is whenever something comes up like this, like right now, on their landing page, they have Batman, the animated series, on their Instagram. I think that's the perfect place to give them feedback. They're going to see it, you know, unless you go off the rails and just put what you think. Hey, I feel like this, I feel like for the things that you guys charge for the last one, which was cheaper, I got more accessories. Can you explain why uh, the same amount isn't given with this one? You know, I think that there's ways you can communicate to them. You know, and I'm not absolving them of anything too. I'm pretty sure they read that stuff, but I think you have to have stuff that you can be able to read. You know, it's just taking advantage of the communication systems that we have with it. Let's see. I really love black and white. It's disappointing it lacks accessories for the same price, but the nostalgia of the black and white OG Dark Knight got me. Yeah. I'm really against the noir version as Joker. Well, hopefully they'll hold off on the New York thing. Well, I'm wondering if they'll look at some of these offerings and they're like, okay, well, we thought this was going to sell out. Maybe there's not an interest for this. And I'm not saying buy it just so to buy it, just to invest in the characters, because obviously, if this isn't something, this is a perfect opportunity for people that have been making content and making having these conversations to show that. Obviously, people are doing it. This hasn't sold out yet. Usually exclusives, they sell out really fast, you know, at least, you know. And I've been tracking this one. I think it stayed around like 300 for like 2 or 3 hours. So, I mean, I think people are doing what they've said now. Hey, I'm not interested. I'm not going to buy it. There are people who have bought it, but you know what I mean? And that's a good communication to them too, because they'll look at the numbers. I'm sure they have analytics. They'll say, oh, yeah, well, um, maybe there isn't an interest for this kind of variant. You know, maybe, I mean, we're all smart. We can figure it out. Damn, this didn't sell. Maybe they're not interested in Batman anymore. Maybe we need to move on to some rogues or something like that. Maybe we've kind of used this mold or this character too much. Let's give it a little bit of a break and let's move on to something else. But they do have they got Scarecrow and Robin out right now. Where was the take accessories away energy when they did that with Black and White Sparky? I did have that in there too. Again, not absolving them. I'm just, see, boom, read your mind. Same thing. They've had characters in the past That and I believe Sparky was the same price. I had a bunch of notes, but I've just been freestyling. I believe Sparky was the same price, but it pretty much is the same layout. You pretty much got everything. Again, this is an IP. I don't know what that is with license, but that's also part of the communication part too. I think it would add a little bit more clarity to this too. Say, hey, if they put out a statement said something like, "Hey, we didn't think people would be interested in this version. It is an exclusive." So what we did was is we kind of like trimmed down on it. The pricing is because it's an exclusive. I don't know, whatever, however they want to explain it, but transparency it like helps out a little bit. But we all see how what happens with Mythic Legions. But Sparky was the same way. Black and white version, an exclusive, and then he had the same amount. I don't know. I don't really know. I think it's a good conversation to have. What's up? How you doing, Will? Good to see you, bro. Let me catch up with some chats here real quick. What's up, Paige? Hey, Kill. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, Kill. Hold on a second. There was another one I had in here. Let's see here. Yeah, Oh, I'm sorry. Sparky was 116. That's what I had. I run UPF LPZ group chat along with the side with LPZ, and we get valuable feedback from fans. People weren't happy with the Catwoman accessory we asked. I saw that Catwoman; it looked really good. I didn't see the accessory though, and we asked what people want and adjusted. I have a question for you in regards to that. Then, so, and I've seen Mezco do this in the past, but I don't know how it weighs in now because there's so much focus on when they're later, they miss a deadline. But when you get feedback for something like that, is that community understandable that you guys are going to be implementing that suggestion to them, but it's going to take time to make that adjustment? Do they understand that and are they accepting of it? Because I know like Mezco, I wonder how it would. I've seen them do like Iron Fist was a sash. Everybody complained about Wolverine shorts. People were talking about Death Dealer, but they didn't announce that. But Death Dealer had single jointed elbows, and then he took close to 2 years to put out, but they put double jointed elbows. They didn't announce it that they were doing that. But you know what I mean? Like if they make changes, how open is that fan base to understanding that if there's going to be an improvement, it's going to take time to do that. This is much better than this. Exactly. That's another thing too. If you have Red Hood, that's sold out very quickly. And then when we got to I'll show you in a little bit. When we got to the con, oh my gosh, there was a line around the booth like 3 times. I would get this buy it now, but buy it now took me out of it. I know we're in con season, but I just couldn't do it with all the stuff that I'm already playing and spending money on. That was a factor. Like I said, I had so many thoughts about this. I I don't know if they looked at what they've already put out because they put out a lot already. And granted, a percentage of it is, I guess you would consider reuse. Like you have Crab Louie, you had Doc Knock. There's a couple of them in there that have been like reuse or variants, right? And so I don't know if they looked at all that. And even though they put out a bunch of figures already, they have a projected number of figures towards the rest of this year. And then you have whatever figures they have for San Diego. And of course, they're going to have New York. I don't know if they looked at this and said, okay, let's strip it down. Let's price it the way it is because there's so much coming out now. It's a lot to, and that's why I think it's good about these conversations because you get different perspective and thought process. It's like, well, what would you do with this? You know, do you make it a character that everybody wants, and then you have that struggle that we saw at the convention and online stuff, or do you put something out and you say, okay, we stripped it down, we made a limited number, and the people that are going to want it, they're going to buy it, and if they don't, then hey, then they just don't buy it. I still think that there's, I still think that there's something else that they got. I don't. I just don't think that this would just be the only two things that they would put out for this convention. It's just, it's almost like when they do. You know how when they do the reveals, and the first like they always like throw out like the first review, and everybody's like, oh come on, like this, and then the next two or three, it's like, oh wow, yeah. I don't think that they would do this con, and these two would be the only thing that they put out. With that being said, I'm wondering how how much of a home run you'll have to hit to kind of like to cancel these out. It just seems like the consensus is like there are people that do like it, but this isn't an overwhelming, excitement or joy that these two figures, you guys know what I mean? So I didn't read that. Everyone's upset. In 7 months, it's gonna be so. Yeah, probably. I think it's funny that I. It's funny to have like I said, a foot in the community and then the foot over there, like being at the booth and stuff like that. I see so many people talk trash about like the figures and they, oh, I can't stand this. This is a pass waste, and I see them line up at that booth and they'll be sitting there. The guy that said, "Yeah, trash. I'm not even getting it," and because I see these people. I know who they are, and it's like they're standing in line, and I'm like, "You said you didn't want this figure." So either A, you lied, or B, you're buying the figure so you can take advantage of the community by reselling it. Who's the bad guy there? Anyway, moving on. I also feel like the con exclusives are nice since it's not for everyone, but you can't get it. It's annoying when it's not completely new figure. Yeah, that's why I think they probably, if they have something else, I think it needs to be something that's going to really swing back the momentum. Because if we're being honest, it seems like from the feedback from the community, this is like, and I don't want it to be like that because you have people, you're getting geared up for this event. You want to make sure that there's excitement going in there. That was the question I had. It was, if you have this, are you looking forward to the convention now? You want to keep that momentum burning all the way through. Sneaky, sneaky. All right. Catch up, faster, faster, faster. UABF is very open and will show off unpainted figures and will ask the community what they needs to be adjusted. It's overwhelming in one aspect and that they'll change it right away. That's good. It's almost like real time feedback and editing on it. I don't know like if that's why I say the communities, most all communities, they need to change the like mentality of how they approach feedback with companies. I think companies would be super open, like import companies, how they are, how how like Storm Collectibles, they could put up a grayscale figure of something, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, wow, wow, wow!" Everybody saw the new Storm stuff, Image put up. Everybody's like, "Oh wow, that's cool," and it's completely accepted, and nobody thinks anything of it. You put a prototype up at Mezco, and and it says it's a prototype. People are like, oh, that's trash. There's no frame of mind looking at it and saying, okay, this is not the finished version. This is proof of concept. It would be cool if people did that. I just don't think. I think there are lines like Mythic Legions and other things that like they started out like that. And Mezco, whether it be because the lack of communication that they had for that period of time, or um, it's just maybe some of the transparency part. I think that there's a bunch of people that are like they don't really tell us anything. We don't know what's going on, so we got to make our own assumptions. And I assume that that's the finished product, and that sucks because we it's always the same cycle. I think it's perfect. Exclusive. All right. I'm gonna fast forward through some of these and see if I can get. Do you think it's another? Do you think if they do another exclusive, it will be an in-person exclusive at the con? I don't know. To be honest with you, I hope not. I didn't. That experience was not a good experience. And again, it's partly because of what the people and what was happening and stuff like that. Uh, if they can't make changes, they tell the community, "Hey, it's late with the feedback, and the WB already approved it, and they said it'll be lay. That being said, most of the issues are minor more than major. Yeah. I wonder if that has anything to do with just the product being really good, or if it just, or if it's just the community. They're more accepting and stuff. Wouldn't those changes be addressed with the audience and feedback that you're asking here now? Probably, but I'm not officially connected to them. They may watch the show. They watched the show before because we have conversations like this. This is not, I get it. It makes for good content. And if that's entertainment and that's what you get out of it, I just don't think it's productive. I don't think it's productive to sit around and shit on a company for 2 hours for shits and giggles, like, and then complain about the fact that you want the company to get better. That's all the underlining narrative that I hear uh with shows is like, I can't watch it because I'm like, this is confusing for me. If you want the product to get better, why aren't you talking about the things that you as the customer want for the product to get better? And it's like for this, and I'm not trying to like take out you or anything, but like asking here, they may watch it, but this isn't like something official. That's why I say using their social media sites because that's direct conversation to them. That's direct connect with them. You can say write an email, but most people think that they don't respond to the emails or the that kind of stuff. Why not hit them directly on their sites and be like, yeah, that way whoever the social media person is, they're taking notes. Dude, I take notes and I don't work for them. And so it's like that way when there is an opportunity to talk to them and they say, hey, what's going on with this? I go, well, these are the things I see the most. You know, it's one sided where the consumer gets the cold shoulder and the company gets less hype on the products. I think if you're, I think that there needs to be an established communication and there needs to be consistent communication. And it's a delicate phase and it needs to be, it's like a broken relationship. You got to handle it with kid gloves. Perfect example is, like I said, Mythic Legions and what Killzone said with LPZ. They're already familiar with this format. They know that they're going to get results because they are speaking directly to the company. They know that they're taking them. This thing with Mezco, unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where people don't feel like they're listening, and so that translates into people's frustration. You guys don't listen to us, f you, and then it spills out into other stuff. They don't take care of me. They don't do this. They don't do that. And some people have good relationships or good experiences with them, and some don't. But it's going to take both of those. It's going to take the community saying, "Hey, this is what we would like to see," and then hoping that starts. They look at that and say, "Okay, here's the feedback. Let's do that." And then all of a sudden something happens where they're communicating. And then that communication in turn is not like, it's about fucking time. It's more of like, okay, hey, we got it. Now let's build on that communication. Because right now, it's like a 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. You're it's not really productive communication. They look at stuff. They got to sift through past trash. This sucks. I hate this. You guys do this. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Hey, it would be cool if you guys did this. Hate you, hate you, hate you, hate you, suck, 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 price, 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 hate, 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 hate. And you're like, dude, I don't even want to deal with it anymore. I think if anybody puts themselves in that position, people would understand. Like, you can't keep getting bombarded. It's not AI yet. You're dealing with real humans, and real humans are going to be like, dude, why am I reading this? He even said himself, he's like, I'll make the product. And if people like it, they like it, they'll buy it. It sucks, but why not try to work on building a relationship with that company and them in turn, reciprocating and building a relationship. So you have something like that, like what LPZ is doing, Mythic Legions and stuff, right? Those companies, you look at them, they're very connected, but it takes both people. It's just not, I get you're spending money to, because you're buying a product and there's that mentality of a customer, the customer, I'm paying money, I'm paying for something. There should be some kind of service to me, but it goes both ways. You just can't have that. I always thought it was outdated. The customer's not always right. And I think it's because I worked in customer service. I did manage, I managed, I did customer service. And as a manager, you're constantly going, Karen's not right. You know, Karen keeps complaining no matter who I send out there or who I'm doing or how much, what kind of like red carpet service I give them. Karen only had a problem. And then Karen makes it worse for everybody else. The biggest thing is I forgot the IP holders have the final say. Yep, I've said that many times. Yeah. Company wants something and the IP holder wants another. And then also puts it like as a delay. Metacom is getting shit on it well, and they definitely don't listen to the feedback at all. I don't think that they don't listen. I think they're selective about it. You can't like not have a product and not listen to your customer base. I think they just look at it and, like I said, they skim through and they try to find something. Why not provide them with feedback where they just have an overabundance of it instead of an overabundance of like just trash and negativity or feedback? I don't get it. I don't get how people say they want something get better, but you're not taking the steps to do, to ensure that it gets, or at least give a chance to get better. Man, I kind of give a fuck. Sorry. Question: do you know if anyone sells Mezco replacement parts for bucks? No, but there's you can go and like look at I think they're on Amazon. They're like Revoltech joints. It depends on what you're looking for. But those are like the pins and stuff, ball pins and stuff like that for the wrist pegs and stuff. I think it depends on what part you're looking for. No stance. Uh Buy and support what you like. Yep. At the end of the day. But people don't want to hear that. People, you could say, when you have a conversation with somebody and you're telling them if you don't like it, don't buy it, and somebody will immediately push back with you and they'll say, well, that's not the point. I want to buy the product, but they're not incentivizing me to buy the product. And that makes total sense. But when you go down and you try to explain things to people, always watch the conversation. It's not an excuse to be like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. But when somebody says, I don't like their release dates, they always take too long. Have you read the terms of service? It says 2 to 18 months. Yeah, but they're always late. Okay, well, there's a licensing problem. Like if they have to go through the licensor, things get delayed. Are you always on time at work? Every day when you go to work, do you complete every one of your tasks that you're supposed to do? Are you never late on projects? No, because shit happens in the world, man. And shit happens, and the thing is people and companies are under a little bit more of a microscope. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be held accountable for it, but you're acting like nobody else, everybody lives their life perfectly. Nobody does that. Things happen. You hit two red lights, you're late for work, you know? And so there's no leeway with that. And that's what you're trying to explain to people. Okay, there's a licensor. Uh, the Strait of Hormuz was closed. I know it's oil, but there's different things when you're trying to ship stuff. I got to get cargo. I got to get people to do this. It's got to go through customs. Have you ever like looked at the process of when cargo gets offloaded and gets inspected and has to go through customs, how long it can take, or the variable? There's a bunch of stuff. And so when you're telling people these things, bullshit, 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 it comes to a point where you're like, dude, I don't know how many actual reasons that you can give somebody before it's like, dude, just stop collecting. I don't know if this isn't the line for you. If you can't deal with these things and these are the reasons why, there's 100 other companies out there you should probably try. That's why I always tell people, hey man, you're not happy, just go find something else. I don't want to. I want this company, but I want them to do it right. Okay, well, it's not going to happen. They're gonna have some wins and they're gonna have some losses, and you have to figure out when you're going through all of this, are the wins enough for you to stay with the company? If not, and the losses are too much, you don't like the pricing, you don't like the release dates, then that's when you need to find something that works for you. But people don't want to hear that because the thing is that the product, whether you like it or not, they do good work. I didn't say excellent. I said they do very good work. You'll see that. Something will come out. Oh, damn, why'd I quit the line? I like this now. Or, wow, this is fire. Just like anything, there's going to be good and bad, just like your relationships. It's not perfect. Stop thinking everything is perfect because you're not perfect. Influencers and such love embellishments for entertainment and exaggerated everything out of proportion. And I'm sure it's hard for Mezco to trust what is honest feedback to the internet and what is sensationalism. Yeah. The communication they need obviously needs to be confined to heavy buyers and enthusiasts. I agree. I think it. I just think it needs to be broader. I think it needs to include everybody. I think your casual customer. I think it's everybody. If somebody's got eyes on your product, you need to be doing whatever you can to try to make it clear and concise. You know what your product is, how long it takes. You know if there's delays or processes, because some people don't know that. Like I've told, and I'll catch a lot of flack for this too. Like somebody will say, "Oh, they're always late and stuff." And like I said before, I'll say, "Did you read the terms of service?" No. Okay, I get it. Nobody does. But if somebody tells you, "Hey, man, this says in their thing on their page, it's going to take 2 to 18 months." Now you know. You know. So if you know that it's going to take that long or possibly longer, I don't know. It's like you're trying to find stuff. And like I said, maybe it just doesn't work for you. Maybe you need to like find a third party company that puts out stuff in 6 months. Maybe that'll work for you. I just don't like the whole constant complaining about something. I had a master sergeant. She brought me in and she told me, she gave me the circle example. She was always telling me, she goes, "This is your circle. This is what you can control. Anything outside your circle, it's beyond your control, right?" And she used to tell me, when you come into my office and you're complaining about something or there's a process improvement, you need to have three things to tell me why, what's wrong with the problem and how you're going to fix it. Because I can tell you how I will fix it, but you're probably not going to like it. And I go, okay. And so I would go in there and I would do it. But it's just sometimes it doesn't matter what you tell people. Some people just like pushback no matter what. I think so. From what I can understand, Mezco isn't getting feedback because they're a small, quiet, shielded company. No, I disagree with that. I've sat there. It's hard to have some of these behind the scene conversations because it sounds like pandering, but I'm being very honest with you. I've sat there. I would think that when the Doc Nocturnal stuff was happening, after it was done, or Red Hood, that's a good one too. Red Hood, everybody, it was sold out. There was a lot of people that were very mad about it. Obviously, right? You paid money to get there. You want to get Red Hood, right? I can tell you when all that kind of like when the dust kind of settled with that, they were having discussions right then and there. People were disappointed that this is a hot item. They didn't, we knew it was going to be popular. We didn't know it was going to be that popular. They had those kinds of conversations, and then I remember, after the committee, like walking back and stuff like that to the hotel, they were still talking about it. I think when stuff is not broadcasted, people make an assumption of what they think is happening. I can tell you, I've been there when they've had those conversations. We had dinner one time, and it was just like they were just talking about everything that was going on at the convention, feedback that was going on, like about figures that were shown. Okay, tomorrow we need to do this. They are in tune, because it's their business and their product. I just don't think that they advertise it, and so that's kind of hard when you don't hear or have that kind of direct contact or see like instantaneous results. But they do talk about this stuff. I don't think that they're shielded. Feedback needs to be everyone. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Company and customers. It's a relationship, man. It has to be with both. There's many different how far are we? Oh, 124. I'm gonna speed this up because I want to talk about the San Diego thing. That'll help. I can wait 18 months for Mezco. Haha. Amount I pre-order and the places I pre-order from don't charge right away. That's another thing too. People, I think it helps people to kind of realize and recognize their financial situations. Like I pay for everything up front. Like I do the PayPal in four, so I don't have to worry about it because there might be something later on. I know everybody can't do that, but that's the reason why I put out those those estimated release date stuff. Are they concrete? No. Sometimes things shift around, but at least you have a better idea, and so you can plan. Each one of these shows are like constantly talking about that too. Like, hey, this is coming, be prepared. But I think it falls. I think some of that does fall on the person who's buying stuff too. Like, you got to know your limits. You got to know what your tastes are, what you're into, and what you're committed to do. What your hard line is like. I'm not going to get this. Like, if somebody said I'm not going to get this Batman, then that's your hard line, and then you stick with it. I wasn't gonna get Batman because moving to 1/6. $96 later, I have another bat on the way. Thanks, rewards point. That's another thing too. Reward points. Somebody asked me why I don't order from like third party seller or wholesalers and stuff like that. It's because I like reward points, man. I order enough to where I'll get like 4 or 5 free figures a year, and I don't know of anybody else that can do that. Or at least they shouldn't be doing it, if that makes sense. You guys still pay the map. Honestly, I need to start paying up front. It helps if you can do it. I think if you can do it, it works. When it comes to cons, COVID changed everything. Since they mainly done online teasers of new figures, do you enjoy online teasers, review, and peers or at the con? I like seeing them, but I'm a little bit more understanding. I'll look at it and go, okay, this is just proof of concept. This isn't the final version. But that's a position I know a lot of people aren't. Like, some people can't go to the conventions, they don't see it, and then everything with Mezco, majority of the time, it seems like everything is different when you have it in hand. I've always seen that feedback. You know, this looks better in hand. You watch any reviewer, they always say the same thing. This looks better in hand, but you can't do that online. And so that's where you're kind of, hindering yourself with maybe your customer base because you're showing these pictures, but you don't really get a complete grasp of like the quality of it. So I like seeing stuff, but I again, I have more of a broadband view of like, okay, this is not the completed thing, because I've seen stuff shown and get to see it progress. Like, I saw a figure they showed at MegaCon, and then I saw another version, or I saw a version at San Diego, I saw a version at New York, and they were it was completely different. They changed stuff. The body it wasn't just a prototype glued body, it was one that could finally move. And so, but I know not everybody has that ability to see that. That's something, communication wise, I think that would be beneficial to them. If you have something and you can kind of showcase it, I think that would be great for them to have just a quick reel video. You don't have to come up with a lot of promotional stuff. You just do a quick, dude, everybody's doing it. You just do a quick hand turn or something like that, or just a quick pan down just so people can see some of the details. I think that would not only build more customer confidence, but you would have people go, okay, I see what I'm getting. Maybe even open up the pre-order again, because maybe people are going, damn, that does look good. If it opened up again, I'd do it. Like the turtles. I remember the turtles, man. Everybody shit on those figures. And I remember, like, as soon as they were up at San Diego, it's like, oh shit. I was like, I knew these were gonna be good. I took pictures of it. I posted pictures, like, and people were like, what? That's the turtles? And oh, they do have double joints. Oh, they are detailed, or they can do this. And I was like, and then they took the pre-order down like a day or two before that. I was like, wow. I have a question, Paige. Do you think they should hire someone else for their promo pictures, photography? Because the earlier promo people that they get, I'm gonna read that again. Do you think that they should hire someone else for their promo? Because when the earlier promo people get it, they do a better job. I don't know, man. I think D does a good job. I don't think D shoots everything for them, but D does a really good job. I don't know. Hire someone else. I don't know. I think it would be a. I think that's something too that you have to like look at and try to find somebody like who's trustworthy. Because you're going to be sending them figures prototypes and stuff like that. Is that person going to leak it? You know, are they gonna break stuff? And I I know, and I'm speaking for myself, and I'm pretty sure it was the same for D. It takes it took me a long time to build up a relationship with them. You know, they're very big on trust, and obviously, for obvious reasons. I don't know how it was for you with LPZ. I'm pretty sure you had to go through that too, but it takes a while to build up a relationship with like a company. And I don't know. I know they used some people before, but that was for stuff that they already had out. Like I think Christian did Doctor Doom. If you mean guys like Henrock or something like that, or guys that like shoot Mezco and they shoot them very well. I don't know what their load is like or what their process is with it. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I will. I'll bring. I'll bring this up because this might help. I think it's hard to do or hard to find somebody like that because a lot a lot of the photographers you have, they have a certain style, right? Like when you see Henrock, you see him, you automatically know what his pictures are, right? And that style works for as a customer. We see that and we go, wow, that looks great. He really showcased the figure really well, right? So what if Henrock took shots or anybody else took shots and those shots were submitted to the licensor and the licensor didn't like it? That's one possibility. Another possibility is also uh, there might be people out there that will shoot a product and they're very, how like people are they're very protective and personal about their art, right? What are you going to do when you submit that photo and they put a bunch of graphics on it, change stuff, hue, coloring, and stuff like that? Add something like they go, we don't want this backdrop, we want something else, and they add a backdrop to it. They Photoshop another backdrop in it. Is that artist going to be able to be open enough to have their art altered or changed? I mean, those are some things that I could think of that I've seen it happen before with other companies, and it doesn't really go that well. Yeah, you changed my photo. I think it takes time to find somebody that you can trust, and that who will be able to be open to any of that kind of stuff that you do. Freeze would be great. Slight tease. I gotta go. The dude Henrock, I think his name kills it with Mezco. Yeah, we just talked about him. He's very good. He's very good. For me, it's insanely photoshopped images that don't do the justice to figure. So I wait for the people who get it early, and they do amazing work. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Uh, I think a lot of times people and just maybe companies in general. I don't know if I don't know if they realize that you could do something once and just try it out, and maybe it doesn't work, you know, or just see how it works. Maybe try it with something smaller or something like that. Again, I know there's licenses, there's a whole bunch of red tape and things that we don't know about, but I, the feedback I see from a lot of collectors and content creators, they're like, I don't want to see all of this stuff in the back. I just want to see what the figure is. I want to see the figure and I want to see what the figure can do at whatever stage it's at, right? But I know that there's a marketing part about it, and so there's that balance. But I think most people, I think, would you like? Let's put this in the chat really quick. Would you be okay if it was just this picture, just that picture? Figure it's standing there. Maybe it does a pose or something like that. But would you be okay with that? Because that it seems like a lot of people. That's what they say. They go, I don't want all this fluff. I just want that. And maybe from a marketing standpoint, somebody will look at that and say, "This is boring. We need to have something going on, colors." What do they say? Like graphic designs and stuff like that. Say, it needs to draw the eye here. It needs to be do this. It needs to pop. This is a black and white photo, you know. I think you could tap into this and maybe do like you could add on to what you're doing with these like this. I think this is cool. I think doing the other stuff like a reel or something like that, a quick turn of a figure. Um, you know, I don't I don't know that part of it. You know, business wise or like their procedures with it, but I think it would be cool to see, you know, someone just take the figure and put the arms up and down, left, right, you know, like just moving the figure, doing something with it, doing like just some poses or something like that, just to kind of like tease it along the way, you know, so you kind of know what you're getting. I think it would debunk a lot of stuff. I think D does a great job of showcasing what a figure can do when he does his reviews. I know he doesn't get them for every single one, but I think it helps because everybody runs into the same thing. They look at promo pictures, they say what a figure can't do. And they say it's not going to have double joint elbows, it's not going to be able to do this pose. And then it happens every single time. Figure comes out, it looks better than what people said. People are, like you said, that have lighting, posing, angles, and everything. They're able to showcase the figure a little bit better. They do that, and people say, oh, now it looks good. Or somebody like Darius or Mert or God, who is Melatonin Ronin, some of these guys that know how to pose will put these figures in the pose, and all of a sudden, the guys that said that they can't do those poses, all of a sudden these other guys are doing it. I think that would help quill a lot of that stuff. Because if you already beat it, somebody saying that this figure doesn't have double jointed elbows, and somebody has a figure and they're just like, look at this. This is the range of motion really quick. It's a prototype, but this is what it can do so far. We'll update later. Or if somebody just did a couple poses and stuff like that, when somebody says, oh, he can't hold the sword in front of him in two hands. Oh yeah, really? You know? So I think that helps. I think, but that's like utilizing more of your social media. Again, that's just me. Maybe I know I'm rambling so much. It should be a tap in, right? I can give some constructive criticism. Never, ever, ever, ever deviate from the source material. That's when things go wrong. There's no room for third party artist interpretation. Yeah. Always remember, if it's a licensed property, the licensor signed off on it. So obviously they're okay with it, you know? Or he said tapping. Or otherwise they wouldn't approve it, right? So, right. What else? I'd be okay with a basic pick and the list of accessories in this case, most because it's just a color variation. Would you be okay with that with something else? Like if let's just say Letterman came out, would you be okay with just this kind of picture? And then would a majority of the people be okay with it? You know, just something simple. For me, I like both. It's what 4-H does with Trevor's beautiful work, but also the basic black drop showcasing the figure. I agree. That's why I said I think you could do mixed media with this. You know, I think you can do something for the licensor. I think you can do something for the people that just don't want to be distracted. They want to see what the figure can do. I think you can utilize social media and say, okay, yeah, I got the figure right here. You know, like it doesn't have to be something produced. It doesn't have to be, I mean, well lit, but I mean, if you had somebody go, yeah, look at that, does this, does that, you know, what are those guys that just do like this? How many views do those get? You don't need, they put it in a pre-pose or they just show the figure and it gets like 25, 50K. That's your reach. That's a whole bunch of like people eyes, people that don't know about the company. People are like, oh crap, they made a shadow figure. I didn't know that. They made a Conan figure. I'm not a toy photographer, so still promos work for me and figures and crazy dioramas that I'll never do. I agree. Yeah, the weak point, and ultimately we are trying to identify. There's a weak point, and ultimately we are trying to identify it on the show. I don't get that, but okay. For me, I like the studio shots as well as style photos. Yeah, I think that's what I said. Mixed media, it helps so you can kind of like figure out you hit different kinds of audience. Why not put black and white figures with just the figure? Why not put out black and white figure with just the figure? Oh, just the figure? One or two accessories? I'm not understanding the question. Why not put out black and white figures with just the figure? One or two accessories? Like they did with this promo picture? I'm not understanding the question. If you can clarify, that'd be cool. I always decided to buy a figure not based on one promotional picture. If you take time and look at all the pictures and accessories, the figure may sell itself before you can buy. That's true. I don't really look at when I buy Mezco, like I I already have an idea. I'm gonna get it anyway, but it's just like do I get one or do I want to rebuild or something like that? But I'll look at it, I go, I'm gonna buy it and then I'll look at the promo images. To me, like the promo images, to be honest with you, they're like a non-factor because it's not like a representation. It's proof of concept. It's not what the figure is. That's not the final figure. So for me to sit and try to waste time looking at a figure, you know what I mean? Like I already know pretty much what the figure is gonna be, and it's just I don't want to miss out on it, so I'll just grab it before it sells out. But then I also look at the first thing I look at when I look at a solicitation is like, okay, that this one I'll be honest with, like I said, I'm kind of conflicted about this one, but this one, as soon as I bought it, I'm like, okay, and I'm getting all my information and stuff. The first thing I did is I went to the accessory page, and that's what hit me first because I went here and I went boom, and I was like, okay, where's the second page? And there wasn't a second page, and so I'm like, oh wow, this only came with this. And if you know, like the guys that I do the show with, Cece's is very big on accessories. That usually makes or breaks his purchasing decision. And I think that's what happened with this too. A lot of people were like, this has a lot less accessories than its counterpart. And I'm looking for value for value for a dollar. And a lot of people's, the feedback is they don't feel like they got it with this. And so when I went through, I looked at that and I go, oh, okay, there's only one page. But most of the time, to be honest with you, like the promotional images, I don't even look at them because I just know that collecting this line, it's that's not like a really true representation. It gives you an idea, but it's not what it is. Okay, did we burn this to death? There's a lot of good conversation though. But yeah, there's been other. I would be very interested in you know the thought process behind this about what you know why this is why this offering is priced and then also why it has the amount of accessories that it did. I wonder if they would just say, yeah, it's an exclusive, and but that's why I showed these other ones because they've had other exclusives in the past that have had either maybe just a few less accessories, sometimes more. But I think this is the first one I've seen where it's been that much of a difference. So yeah, we'll see. Let me see what else. Am I caught up with chat? Okay, yeah. Octopus arms juggling this pretty well. All right, let's get off of this. I think we beat it to the ground. Anybody have anything else with this thought processes or anything? What is that? 320. Hold, please. I gotta get this really quick. Got that. All right, cool. What was next? Next. All right, we'll try to like make this really fast. I'll go through this. Sorry, you guys are like really good at. I'd rather hold on to my buying power and wait to see what else they release for the con. Hey, and that's a great That's a great perspective to have on it. I think you should. I've never tried to tell somebody they need to buy something they don't. I mean, as a matter of fact, I've encouraged people not to get something if they don't want it. You know, people will say stuff is a cash grab. You can't grab somebody's cash if they don't give it to you. I've never understood that. And at the end of the day, it's a business. I know people hate to hear people say that, but you know, I would assume grabbing cash would be the ultimate goal for a business anyway, right? And not just for the sake of like greed. I know there's a lot of greed going around in the world right now, but uh, from what I understand, making money allows you to pay for your lifestyle, your home life, take care of your family, pay your employees, um, improve on the products that everybody wants you to improve on, designs, better soft good materials, acquiring new licenses, maintaining new licenses. God, you can keep going with this. I know this isn't the best example, because of what they have, but uh, uh, I've heard smaller toy companies say the profit margins for toy making is they're razor thin, and you don't make a lot of money. And even though that they've been doing this for a while and they've been able to build up a clientele to generate wealth and stuff like that, you still have to use it responsibly. You just can't sit there. But I mean, making money, yeah, you need to make money to be able to do those other facets in a business. And so I would question any business that was just getting by, because that was the case, your product wouldn't get better. You know, it's there's just so much. I never understand that cash grab argument. It doesn't make sense. If that's the case, then everybody's cash grabbing. Everybody goes to work in the morning, right? You're trying to grab cash too. Everybody's doing it, man. Just my thought. Anyway, con. Let's talk about the con really quick. Um, I'll condense this really bad because we talked. Where am I at? Jeez, 146. Thank you for being with me. So the con is coming up. Um, I had maybe I'll wait for them, but I'll just give you like a quick synopsis. So the con's coming up, and just to kind of help people prep for this, that's coming up. They've done some online stuff, and then they're also going to have the exclusives at the booth. I don't really. I'm assuming that they're going to have the 2026 stuff that they've been showing. I'm wondering about the Gomez because it was limited, but uh, I'm pretty sure they'll have this Batman there, right? And then whatever else, if they decide to do more, they'll probably have that there too. Um, Really quick, this is the calm before the storm, right? That's what it looks like. And I was really, like I said last week, I was really passive about this, and I was like, yeah, make sure you go by the Mezco booth. Try to get there as soon as you can. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you, and it's probably not because of the exclusives that they've shown so far, right? It seems like it's kind of hit and miss right now. If they announce another exclusive and you want it or something like that, I'm telling you, if you want any of these exclusives, you need to go to the Mezco booth first. This was San Diego. This was preview night, I believe. This wrapped around the booth. Okay, again, different scenario. It was different exclusive and everything. Let me get this. What is it? My biggest thing is everything is meant for everybody, and that's fine. I don't need to figure put it compared to. Yeah, yeah, totally agree, Kill. We're gonna get dinner. Yes, we are, sir. Yep. Yes, we are. I hope you come to the hangout. I mean, the meetup, man. Else like Scully and possibly Sneaky. Yeah, that would be cool, man. That would be really cool. Prediction for the next. Don't do that. Don't do that. That would suck. I still think it's if they do another one, it's got to be something. It's got to be something like I'm hoping it's just something to kind of like swing the momentum back, But best attitude to have, exactly. Yeah, you don't have to find a reason to hate something just because it's not for you. That's probably the most. That's probably the key thing about that whole sentence. I I see a lot of people. They'll say I don't like this or whatever. It's like yeah, but what do you do? Are you a photographer? Are you an inbox collector? Do you pose stuff? If you pose stuff and you didn't like this Batman the Animated Series, I totally get it. You know, even though I think it just takes some time to work it in, it's not gonna be a Reveltech figure. But if you're a poser, I get why you wouldn't like it. It doesn't mean that there's some guy out there that doesn't like the DC version or the Mafex version or anything else. Maybe he wanted something in soft goods, so that's for him. Just because you don't like it, it doesn't mean somebody else isn't gonna like it. And that's something I don't get either. Like there's like content creators and people that are like push, you know, this thing about like I don't like it, everybody has to hate it. It's like, no, man, you don't like it, and that's totally cool. You have your reasons. Just like the guy that's gonna keep it in a box has a reason. So I'm definitely going to the meetup. Man, it'll be good to see you, man. It'll be really good to see you. Anyway, sidetrack. So this right here, this was preview night, and the line wrapped around. Again, like I said, um, uh, obviously that's going to be exclusive based, you know, the line, but the line was this was the next day. The line had started, and I don't know if you guys can see this. Like, here's the line going all the way around. This is New York. This is in San Diego. I actually swapped the slides, but that's one that I showed you before here. Here, that line, it wrapped around the booth, and then they had to take everybody and put them here in the queue line to wait. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to get one of the exclusive for Mezco, I honestly think that that should be your first stop. The other thing, I went to a couple of the other ones, and I didn't have a problem getting some of the stuff like Jada and everything. There was a line, but not like this. Again, exclusives dictating what it, you know, what is. I wonder if there's going to be an updated Batman figure. Seems like Mezco has jumped on the making the Batman like it's printing your own money. Well, yeah, Mez is a very big Batman fan, so that's probably the reason why. The internet is full of hate and rage-based reviews. It sucks, but people generate buzz. Yeah, that's why people should. If you don't like it, don't watch it, and then don't get it in your feed. It's like a diet, man. It'll show up in your algorithm. It only shows up when you reward it. So I mean, people obviously they like it, so it keeps going. Again, that's the line. So um, if you're there and you want the exclusive, I would say get there early. I know there was a thing last year because of the in-person only exclusive. I don't know if they're going to have that this year, but that's the reason why it was super long. You know, everybody was trying to get that exclusive. But even with that, when that sold out, you know, Darius, myself, and KJ, we were like organizing the line, keeping everything kind of like flowing the way it's supposed to go. I was like a big proponent of like talking to them and communicating with them. Like when something sold out, you told everybody because what they'll do is if it's very busy and they're selling a lot of the stuff, one of the suggestions and the feedback that we had, you know, how I was talking about earlier about how, you know, well, somebody said, oh, well, they just sit in a vacuum, they're not listening to the feedback. I mean, we actually said, hey, um, I told the story last week, but Thursday, they were like, okay, we're just going to put the stuff up and we're going to sell it. And they said, what do you guys think about it? And I said, well, if there were people that didn't get tickets for preview night, they're not going to have a chance to get the exclusives. You know, maybe something that would be good is like if you did like a customer limit and then a daily allocation limit, like you've done in the past. And say, okay, yeah, we'll see how that goes, and we'll kind of like get a feel for it. And if that's the case, then what we'll do is we'll do the limits. And so Thursday, you know, you would hit a limit and you would just tell people, hey, we're no longer selling this today. There will be an opportunity to do it tomorrow if you want to come back. If you have passes or whatever, you can come back tomorrow and have your chance to do it, right? Because nobody wants to stand in line just to get to the register for them to say, yeah, we're out. So we try to like communicate that to people so you can have the ability to say, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, and then you can go around and do the other stuff at the con. Nobody wants to be in a line, right? But they'll have limits per customer, and that's to stop people from buying up a bunch of stock and doing what they do with it. And then also the daily allocation like makes it fair. I'm gonna tell you right now, and like some of this stuff is hard truth stuff. They only have a limited amount of stuff that they're gonna take to the convention, so they're gonna sell out of it depending on what the exclusive is, right? but they're going to sell out of it. So that's why I say you should probably go and get there early. Again, last year they had the online exclusive, and so that caused a lot of people and a lot of traffic and stuff like that. I hope that they don't do that this year, but that's whatever their business and how they're going to run this event this time. That's their decision. But get there early if you want to get whatever exclusive they have, and then don't get frustrated. Red Hood was one of the ones that they had. And remember, just because it's sold out online and it's sold out in person, I was trying to tell a lot of people. I was like, "Hey, they're getting the feedback. Be patient. You know, if they see that there's a demand, they could put another order in to get more." And that's what happened, right? So I get it. It's frustrating. You paid money. You're there waiting in line. It didn't happen, but just because it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that they won't, try to course correct and try to rectify that at another time. They even did the online exclusive. They even though that sold out really fast, they still gave people another opportunity to try to get that too. I love SDCC, but even even as a consumer dude, it is too much. Yeah, really feels like a job trying to get exclusives. Yeah, man, it is not for the faint of heart. Like shows are emotionally and physically taxing, dude. Get up in the morning, like 5 or 6 in the morning, and get there, and you're there all day. And I love talking to people. I really do, because like people, you'll see people from the community, you'll see people who are interested in the line. There's some people other people that don't collect the line that come over, like you guys, like talk. So why can't they make con attendees make reservations for figure purchases? Worked out great for Savage Crucible. Maybe they will do that. Maybe that's something that you should probably suggest to them on their site. I would do that. They could look at that formula and see if it works for them. You know, I don't know what it all involved. I'm not familiar with that process. I think there was a discussion about it before, and it was trying to figure out how. And this was like a year or two ago. It was trying to figure out how to verify that the person, was the person who they were. Uh, you know, are you paying up front? And how does that work? Do they have an email confirmation, a scan, and do we have a system, or do they have a system that keeps track of that? All that stuff's front loaded. Is it on an iPad? Is it on a scanner? You know? Again, I don't know how Savage Crucible does it, but again, that's out of my wheelhouse. But for one figure, made the community hate Savage. Yeah, that's another thing too. I've heard some companies say that that you can bog down a process so much where it becomes where it's not. You know, do people know that you're making reservations? Do the people at the con? So when you got people in the con at the line and there's people just jumping them and they like, oh hey, what are they doing? Well, they have reservations. I didn't know about that. I've been coming to this con for years and all I've been doing is standing in line. Now there's reservations. I would have done that. So it's like it's yeah. I don't know. Not my lane. But yeah, get there early. You don't get the exclusive, don't panic. Try the next day, and then even if that, kind of take it in stride. There was something else. God, what was it? Daily allocations. What else? I'll skip that one. Oh, if you're at the convention and you're at the booth and stuff like that, they've been doing a really good job of showing some of these renders and then actually showing the figures uh, at the booth. Concept, either the prototypes or something like that, to coincide with the reveals. They did that. It was funny because they did that with Letterman. They did that with Baron Benz, and they just there's times when like I would take stuff out and I would put it in the cabinet, but they're time releases and stuff like that. So if you're there, I would suggest, it's not a plug for the booth. I would suggest coming back you know, when they start doing reviews and stuff, like come back to the booth and check it out, because sometimes they're putting that stuff in the booth, and a lot of times people missed a lot of that stuff because they would come to the booth the first time, okay, they see everything, and then I put like one or two figures out throughout the day. So I know a lot of people will like miss opportunities, like either see it in hand or just to take pictures, your own pictures and stuff like that. So if you're there at the booth, I would highly recommend, you know, hey, you know, just pass by every once in a while and come talk to people. Because regardless of what people say, I'll shoot that one too, really quick. Uh, this is a preemptive strike. I've done this for probably, this will be my fourth year. And I hear every year somebody sends me a video and somebody says the vibe is off on the booth, or they don't talk. They don't talk to me at the booth. You said this like last time too. Dude, everybody at that booth. So the people that are on the floor is like myself, Darius, KJ, and another guy. And we're all out on the floor. And we're probably, you know, we're in the community. So obviously we know people, we see people. So I don't see how, unless you're somebody that you probably don't get along with, I don't see how any one of those individuals would not talk to you. Even if one of them didn't like you, another one's probably going to talk to you, right? And I know there are people I don't get along with in the community, but I also understand that I'm there as whatever kind of role that I have. Your representation, your reflection of the company, right? And I'm very good about maintaining a professional kind of approach to things. Even if I didn't like somebody, if they said, "Hey, Paige, is this sold out?" Yes, sir, it's sold out for today. You can come back tomorrow. Doesn't mean I have to have some long conversation I would have with you with somebody that I get along, but I can still sit there and answer whatever your questions to the best of my ability. But I'm not going to sit there and go, whatever. You know, I've never done that to anybody. Never will do that to anybody. I don't care if it's my worst person I can't stand in the group or in life. If you ask me a question, I will answer that question and I'll tell you, have a great convention. So if you're there, stuff like that, and this happens every year, I guarantee it'll happen this year too. The vibe is not off at the booth. The vibe is off if you come to the booth and you know you ask a question and somebody can't answer it. If you ask me when's Letterman 2.0 coming out, I can't tell you that. I mean seriously. So if you're asking a question I can't answer, or if you're asking for stuff that you can't get, hey, give me exclusive. I know it's in the back, dude. I can't. They're all sold out for the day. You could do it. Come on, Paige. No, if that's the vibe and you're mad about that, then there's nothing that's going to change your mind. So, you know, was it Savage? Savage did a shop pay QR system. Time limited for 2 days. It's probably more complicated than that, but it was easy. I stood in line for less than 20 minutes. That would be great because you're helping your customer base, like not stand in line, waste a lot of time. Also, the convenience of just coming up there. Again, that's something for them. Maybe they'll consider it. I don't know. Maybe they'll see this. You know, I don't know. I just you can sign up with the QR code Savage's uh website and you'll get one for sure page. That's how it worked with Savage. I discussed this them since man. Yeah. Maybe that's something that they can look into. You know. I had a fun time at the booth, got to see Darius, KJ, everyone was not busy but the checkout. Doing the photo with the Batman. That's another thing. If the vibe is off at the booth, I had to talk to every single person that would come up for a picture, except for the guy that said "f you," derogatory comment, and I was like, "Sorry, sir, I have to take this back so the guy can come and he can put it back together before we do it. It'll be done in 15 minutes." Even again, guy said something like that to me. Normally, if we were out someplace else, there might be different words exchanged. But again, professional page. Even though he said it, sorry, sir. But I don't see how you could be at the booth taking pictures and stuff like that, talking with Adam. You know, like it's just. I think you really got to look at what kind of energy you're bringing to the booth. If you're coming there and you're upset or disappointed in the fact that you missed out on the exclusive, I totally get it. Laser Pants came up, and I felt bad for him. That's why I say get there early at the booth. He got there, and he had to walk from. They put everybody in Hall H, and then they like corral you through this whole maze to get to the main floor, and then you got to know the layout, and then you got to shoot to the Mezco booth or wherever you're trying to go to get the exclusive, right? So he's doing this, and I feel bad for him because he came there straight and he missed the exclusive. It was the online exclusive, right? But even then, he was like, "Okay, yeah, I understand that I missed it, but I understand being disappointed. But disappointed is like, hey, yeah, you missed it, but try to come back tomorrow. I can't guarantee anything, but at least you'll have another shot. But if you're just coming there in a bad mood, you're gonna have a bad time. You know, you're not gonna put me in a bad mood. I mean, I'm there. I get to look at that stuff all day. I get to hang out with people and do shit. You know, so it's whatever you're bringing. I I I I told this story before, but there's some dude that he came to the booth and he asked for a figure, and he said, I'm a reviewer, and I've done you guys a solid by giving you guys positive reviews. And I wasn't part of the conversation. I was sitting in the back, I was just sitting there. And he kept going on, and I'm like, ooh, man. I was like, I don't know how they're gonna handle this. And he just kept going. He's like, F you, and he goes, that's how you treat your effing fans. I'm like, wow. So yeah, if you come, I don't know what kind of response you think you're going to get when it doesn't work. You're not going to guilt people into giving you stuff, and it's not going to change what it is. It's unfortunate, but don't like, what is it they say? You attract more flies with honey, or no, more bees with honey than you do with shit. Flies, you get shit. So yeah, Paige will treat Congoers like 7 Up. Never, dude. I'm if I'm talking like right now and I've talked nonstop for 2 hours, I have no problem doing it at the booth. I love it. I love it. I love talking to people. I love hearing good, and regardless of what people think, I love hearing bad because that's feedback. When I hear that kind of stuff, and then I get a chance to talk to him in the back, maybe we're putting like figures together or something like that, or we're just shooting the shit, and he says, "Hey man, what's going on? What's the feedback right now?" That's great because you can tell him in real time or tell other people, "Hey, this process is broken. You know, this process needs to be improved. This is something. You guys want to take a look at this? Yeah, look at that. That's good. I like hearing about that kind of stuff. It helps. So it's like if you came to the booth, I will talk to you. If you're someone that like in the group and you're just trying to give trouble, I said it last year. That's the great thing about not working for them is I can be professional with you and I can walk away. I don't have an obligation to talk to some people like that. There have been people like that at the con. They're like people that you know talked a lot of trash and stuff like that in the group, but they're in line waiting to buy the exclusive. Hey, Paige, how you doing? Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? Hey, you got a second? No, not right now, man. I got some stuff I got to do, but I tell you what, I'll spin around back, and if you're here, I'll talk. If you have any questions. Damn. Now I have to listen to doggy style. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so we ran through this. I got a little lost, but hopefully answered some of these questions for you. If you guys have questions, let me know. I don't think there's anything that I missed. At least nothing important. Yeah, that was about it. Yeah. Remember, good vibes. Come to the booth, good vibes. People talk to you, people have fun. Come to the meetup. I guarantee you. That's another thing too. There's fun. I would see people at the con, and I would see them make a post. Oh man, they don't talk to us. They're rude there and stuff like that. But they'll show up at the meetup and be drinking with them. I'm like, what's up with that, bro? It's like, what? Yeah. Did you say this? Oh yeah, it was. Like, bro, you were at the. We're talking for like 20 minutes. We're drinking together right now. Are there any exclusives you're excited for at the con? I am. Oh, I have a list, but they're like figures that nobody really like. I want to get that gem crossover transformer, a blaster, the fluffies. I want to get those. I'm thinking about the Jim Skeletor. Killzone, what are you gonna get? What else? Jada, the what is it? The continue damage head pack. I'm thinking about that. Um I have a list, but it's on my phone. On the good phone. But yeah, there was stuff like that. I can't think of anything else. What is it the Hasbro's doing? I don't know about that shipwreck 2-pack. The fluffy thing. What else? Oh, Legends, I think, is doing the Spider-Man thing, or what it was, the 60s, and they're doing something else. Oh, Professor Xavier. I was thinking about that. I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. That's all I can really think of. There's something else, right? For me, it's just Jada Invincible. I thought about that, the bloody version, but is the regular version of that character out? But I'm getting it for UPF since they're good friends and they love Invincible. Jada's cool because I remember when I went over there, I just didn't have time. Um, I think I went over there early, but we were doing the exclusives, and I'm like, I don't have time. I got to hurry up and go back. But their line wasn't that bad at all. I mean, the 3 times that I've gone to San Diego. Do you believe Mezco will come with more accessories? I'm hoping so. I I don't know if they do this like in real time if they're looking at the feedback from like right now. I think it would help. I think it would help if they had another figure that just really resonated with people. You know, I don't know what that is. I'm just going by what the temperature check is in the groups and the feedback and stuff. I haven't seen a lot of positive feedback about this, and it almost seems like it's compounded. You know, everybody, it was Gomez, same thing. It was kind of stripped down. The pricing was higher, and then it's Gomez, which is surprising because a lot of times, you know, people really like that figure, but I think it had to do with the price, and then it was kind of stripped down, and people were like, and then now you have this one that came out today, and it's the same formula, you know, in terms of, you know, was it, we called it, like last week, called it Blackgate. You know, everybody's, it's almost like the dress. Like, what color do you see? As soon as somebody mentions something, everybody's like, "Oh, well, they make too many black figures." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And it was like, and I think I even did like a total last week, and I said, "Nah, it only makes up like 17% of the line. There's not that many, you know, black figures, like not black skin figures, like, you know, talking about just characters that are in all black." And so now it seems like that's part of the latch part. It's like, oh, there's another, you know, black figure, black and white figure. Here's another black and white figure. So it's that's what I mean by it. It's compounded. I think that they need to have something that kind of like swings it back the other way. Do you know? I don't know what that is. What would you guys think it would be that would actually help swing it back the other way? Oh yeah, Super Seven bet. Yeah, I heard they're having an event, aren't they? Killzone at their store. It's like the first. Was it the first 50 or 100 people they get a chance to? Is it the Godzilla or something like that? If I remember. So yeah, was it black white? Yeah, that would go over well, wouldn't it? Can you imagine if they did that, like a black and white, the red bandana? Maybe that's their motif that they're gonna go with. I don't know. But did I see Corey in there? Oh, there he is. Jada Invincible is a must. Yes. Good to see you, bro. Oh yeah, there it is. Battle Beasts from Super 7. Oh no, that's not it. Black and white. I don't. Uh I'm also going for Star Wars Black. Oh, I saw that. Don't they have the Genosis pack too? Is it, did I see that? I can't remember. Don't put that evil in our wallets. Can you imagine that though? They did this black and white, but then they did the black and white turtles. I wonder how that would go. Yeah, not gonna lie, Gomez was insanely overpriced for so little, which is weird since it's their own IP. Yeah. The other two members of the Hazard Squad might swing the momentum back in a positive direction, meaning you would do that as a a 2-pack as an exclusive, or you do mean like a reveal? I'm just trying to understand. I'm still waiting, and I hope is the Baron Benz. Oh yeah, the Leviathan armor. Yeah, that thing is badass. It was kind of like put together, but the armor. Did I have a picture of that? I think I did. The armor on that is just it's insanely detailed. Did I go through all these? Yeah. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that's the line. Yep, line. Oh, look at that. It's Darius. He's talking to people. That's crazy. Look, he's talking to 3 people. Oh, okay, well, whatever. Vibe is off. Yeah, that was New York. This is New York. Oh yeah, that's that. Yeah, that thing. You had to sit. So you had to sit here, and we took pictures, and it was free. So as soon as you announce something's free, everybody comes. And so there was a line at one point that was longer for the exclusives, just to take a picture with this Batman. But the vibe is off. You don't talk to anybody while you're there. Like you're taking a picture, you just click the button and you just go like that. Because that works. Get out of here. Ugh. Love it. Please don't send me any more of those videos. Red, white, and blue skulls. 250th edition. Nice. We insanely well. People would complain, but yeah, and that goes back to this thing too about trying to balance it out. If you did something like that and it was an exclusive, God forbid if it was a in-person only exclusive, but if those turtles were an exclusive, maybe it wouldn't be bad because so many people had passed on the first 2. I was wondering also if people were looking at these 2 and passing because they are anticipating something else down the line and they're trying to save their money for that. There's just so many variables. For sure, it would sell out in minutes. I believe so too. Speaking of, let me check this really quick. Wow. Oh, okay. Well, no, that's not much. I have a feeling this is going to be up till tomorrow. Anyway. All right. So I believe we had a very productive conversation that showcased both sides. I would say our shill to hate ratio was pretty balanced. I was at the New York Comic Con line. I saw you, but you looked busy. I did talk to D, and everyone there had a good time. Yeah, you're doing a lot of things. Where I told there was a couple people I told I was like I just got some stuff I got to do, but if you're here, just hang out real quick. I'll come right back. You know, or if I'm busy, I think Mark, son of a flower, he saw me there and he had come by the booth once or twice, but I was setting up the dioramas and stuff like that, making sure nothing falls because that's embarrassing. But um, he was like, "Oh, I came by. I didn't want to interrupt you." I'm like, "No, dude, just hey, Paige, man, I'll stop what I'm doing, but if I'm really busy, I'll just say, hey, man, just give me a second, you know." Sometimes I was putting figures in the booth, or some of them fall, you got to pick them up and stuff like that. And the last thing you want is have the door open and people are sticking their cameras in there trying to grab the figures and stuff. So you got to medically seal, make sure that there's only enough space for you to stick your fingers in there so you can adjust the figure. What's your thought on the exclusive black and white Batman? I I like it because it's Batman the Animated Series. Uh, like I said earlier, it's noir. I love film noir. I love that genre. Yeah, yeah, as a lot of people, stuff like Dick Tracy, fucking all of that stuff. I'm a huge, huge fan of that stuff, man. I love Humphrey Bogart. I just love the genre. It's really cool. So for me, it was cool. And I like black and white figures. I've been plugging for, like I said earlier, I won't be doing it anymore because people don't seem like they like it. But I like black and white figures. It takes me back to when you have figures like The Dark Knight Returns and Judge Dredd. So when they came out with like figures like Frankie and they started doing them, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. It's like a callback, but it after seeing it now, I don't know if it really has a big fan base for it. Maybe if it was more character specific to I think the Gangsters Inc. stuff works. Maybe that. I think it would have worked for Popeye, but I don't think that it works for a bunch of figures, especially ones that maybe it doesn't. I know they did the TV thing, like I said earlier, but maybe for this, I think I think people were looking for something else. I think that I think Gomez is a tried and true, uh, you know, exclusive. We've gotten like Void Cadet and the Vortex suit and Void Cadet. We've gotten like these different versions of Gomez through different cons, and it's their own IP. And, but it's a tried and true thing. I think maybe people were looking at or expecting something different, and these two came out, and they were just like, we already had this other Batman, and then Gomez, like I said, in combination with the price and the accessories, I think people are just like, I think people really said, you know what, I'm taking a stand with this, and I'm not gonna support it, and that's all right. It'll speak louder than complaining online. I'm pretty sure that they looked at this, and even though he sold out, they still saw some of the feedback. So pretty sure a new frog dude, yeah, but that would be reuse, and everybody would complain about that too. It's so hard. Anyway, that's it. That's all I had. 222. Wow, marathon man. Yeah. So we covered a lot of stuff. I think I'll make chapters for people. This is a lot. A lot of information, a lot of talking. It's a good conversation though. We all still know this is up. What is this? Great hangout. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate everybody that watched, man. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I wish my boys were there. Missed you guys tonight. Probably gonna add another hour. Just kidding. I wonder how long, like, what's an adequate amount of time for a stream? I guess it doesn't matter. Depends on what you're talking about. True, but a fully new figure is always weird since it's like I have to go to the con to get this. Yeah, that is very true. I think that's what I meant about having a figure that's going to momentum shift. I think having a figure that you look at and you go, even if you don't get the figure, it's like building up the excitement. Yeah, it sucks. It's a disappointment, but they. I remember when I first started collecting, the only way to get the con exclusive was if you had somebody going to the con. They didn't have it online. And so I look at some of this stuff now and I'm thinking, I get there maybe some characters that we don't like or we didn't want. I like the fact that they have, access to be able to get to it now. I remember paying people extra money to get me Shadowland Daredevil, man. It was, and lucky I had a friend that did it. But I still think even though those you have those advancements and improvements, I still think it doesn't mean that you kind of like falter on the other stuff. And just to keep that momentum going into the convention, have some character or have some con exclusive that gets you excited, not only about getting that product right then and there, but takes that momentum and leads you into the convention as well. It'll be interesting to see during the convention what they show, and then the post convention how all of this comes together. You know me, I look at stuff farther. It's always in the now. Everybody's always dealing in the now, and everything's blown out of proportion. And you know, I remember how much flack that online Doc Knock got, and now when you think about it, people don't really talk about it. It's more of like a ghost story, or you know, like a tale, but nobody's mad like they were before. So I think what will determine all this is what they do at the con, and then what they show. I want this to be. I want I want it to be a great con just for people. You have people that are excited about collecting and stuff like that. That's why I think they need something to kind of swing it back to push it back. And everything. Oh, I had this. I'll show this really quick again because I said I don't know what you guys think about this, but I don't remember if I talked about this or not. But I think something that works for convention exclusives is even if you have. I did talk about this with Nosferatu. I think what works with this is that even though this is your original, and even though he has maybe it's a palette swap or whatever you want to call it, reskin or something like that. I did talk about this, but just to reiterate it, I think this is cool because you add something to whatever the offering is that's complementary to the previous offerings. I think that helps. Like these things are interchangeable with this figure. He's brown, but you could still take this and put it on there. You could use his plume. You could use his wolves, bats. Worst case scenario, it doesn't color match it, but you could use his coffin. And then the same thing with these. I think that helps. Some people will look at some of that stuff and say, oh, okay, this has like interchangeable playability and stuff. And so that helps. So I think to be able to have an exclusive, if I was looking at something, I would try to like look at it like that. Again, they know their company, they know what they're doing, but as a as a collector and a customer, I think that helps because you're locking people in from a business standpoint. You're locking people in and saying, "I'm excited about this because these are things that I don't have with this other thing, and I think it would go well with it." And at least that way, somebody's considering buying that other thing, right? Because we all do that. Look at the Skeletor I showed earlier. I'm not interested in that Skeletor, but it has accessories and stuff like that too, so it's cool. The Skeletor is kind of just like a bonus. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you staying with me, man. Listen to me ramble. I mean, we are here, but no, no, no. Those guys will be back. They just had life. They had life to do, and those guys need a break sometimes too. I think it's the perfect type of exclusive. Variants are not necessarily new figures. That allows fans to get a new figure, and for those who attended the con, they get the variant. Yeah, I remember used to not be able to get it, so it wasn't even a option. I got a Thursday badge only. Look forward to seeing you again this year. Hopefully, I can get something good this time. No vendors. Yeah, I know, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that, bro. I think that was something that got brought up, and I think it was the last day that you tried to change it. And again, you're trying to change stuff on the fly. This happened. I think they figured it out the first day, and then the next day they said no vendors. And the buzz around the internet with that is like, so if you identify the problem, right, people are gonna find ways around it. And so what happened was is they said they had these vendors in the line. And all the people, like I was telling you, like Ryan's waiting in Hall H to be able to come down and get the exclusives. He has to go through all that stuff, but vendors have early access. And so the vendors are starting to line up. And so they recognized that and they said, okay, the first day they were like, okay, no vendors. We're not gonna let anybody with a vendor badge, they can't line up. So what these guys were doing were they were just taking off their badges and swapping it with another guy that had a regular badge. Or they would get their friend like, here, you take my badge, I'll take your badge. And so, you know, you can't look at somebody and go, "Are you a vendor?" You know, obviously they're there a little bit early, but they have regular badges, and so after a while, you see the same person that was there the day before, and you're like, "Hey, man, nah, that's not going to happen today." And so you're trying to do certain things, but like there's just some, I can't memorize everybody's face. Other people, it's hopefully they figure something out that's a little bit better. Maybe they'll just say nobody can line, and maybe they'll coordinate with the event people, and they'll have a partition line out. They'll have maybe some security people out there, because there were some people that were just I will just say their vibe was off, coming on like screaming, yelling, threatening, and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you don't want to do that with me. I think the black and white should be reserved for only some figures. I agree. Lately, it's been happening more often. This time, it seems frivolous and not worthy of the con. I don't know how it would not be worthy of the con, because if it's something that people aren't interested in, why would it be bad if it was a con exclusive? Again, traditionally con exclusives, you weren't able to get them. Now they're offering them online, and then you're also offering it to the people that are at the con too. So it's almost like if you don't like the offering, you don't have to buy it. You know, I'm pretty sure that people that have a preference or articulations like a certain character, they're not gonna like if they do another exclusive. They may not like that character too, but there may be somebody that does. So I don't think they put out a lot of black and white figures, but that's just me. I just did the numbers. So let's see here. That's it. We're done. That's all I got. Milk, 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 milk. I don't think we need milk it anymore. Anybody got any last minute questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, process improvements? Let's see. I think it's exactly what you want from the con. If you don't want it, you don't need to go to a convention to get it. Yeah. Fully new figures should be reserved for online orders, not cons. Yeah. I would be interested in seeing how they would handle that reserve thing. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. It would make life a lot easier for people that work the booth, because all you would do is say, "Hey, you have this figure reserved, or you have a reserved time that you come. Both of them, reserved and reserved time. You come at between 2 and 4, and you pick up your figure." It would kind of dampen some of the foot traffic, because sometimes when those long lines are around there are people that are actually in line looking at the product. They're looking at the stuff, they're experiencing the booth because they're kind of forced in there. So I mean, you're reducing some of your foot traffic, but I don't think they have a problem with foot traffic really. But you know, that's just me. Anyway, I don't work for them. Good point though. I would be. It would save a lot of headache too. Yeah, it helps out a lot. That's how I get the Savage stuff, because John went. Yeah, it would help too. Can you do it where your friend picks it up for you? Are they allowed to do that? That would be interesting. Anyway, I'm doing good. Da, 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 da. All right, well, cool. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Whether you popped in, popped out, thank you very much. Thinking about my co-hosts, I hope that you guys are sitting back, because you're obviously not watching the show. Don't say you watched the replay either. MCCC. But yeah, I miss you guys. Wish you guys were on. But we had a great chat tonight. Lots of interesting perspective. Great conversation. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate you. Remember, go early. Good vibes. Yes, you can. Oh, yes, you can. John picked up 4 excuses. Oh, nice, man. I guess they kind of just cross-check it. Have you seen the Humvee that just came out? Yeah, we did. Story. We talked about that earlier. The black one? That one's nice. Looks really good. Oh, for different people. Okay. Thumbs up, collectors. Oh, thank you. Yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be con. Everybody have fun. It's gonna be a good time. Lots of good stuff. Hopefully, right? Hopefully next week when we come back, we'll have that momentum swing, right? Good night. Oh yeah, and remember, they're just toys. Have fun.